took me on face value, absolutely did it, and had some amazing successes within a week. And, you know, I think the quote that she said to me was, "Why don't they teach this in schools?" It's a good question, but look, what I'll do, just give me a brief second. I want to say hello to a couple of people. All right, great. Okay, so thank you again for listening in. Now, the secret to your perfect diet. Now, you notice the words that I said there is secret to your perfect diet and not a secret to the perfect diet. Now, I think one of the things that actually falls down is that we talk about the food pyramid, and I talked about it last week. So if you missed out on that, I'll to our Facebook Live feed. But what will happen is that it needs to be an understanding around what is the difference between the perfect diet and your perfect diet. Is have an understanding that everyone is very different, okay? Now, that shouldn't be a shock to people, but when it comes to food, we seem to think that everyone should have the same food. And that's what I talked a little bit about last time was a little bit about the food pyramid. So the questions I want to ask you is, have you ever wondered why one diet doesn't work for one person and does for another? You know, why do some people have food intolerances and allergies and others don't? You know, why do people lose weight on a specific diet and you don't? Okay, and the simple is, you know, the secret is that we are different, and it's not groundbreaking, but I'll tell you what, when you actually think about that with the food, is then that means we need different micronutrients. But if we need different micronutrients, it also makes sense that we need different macronutrients. Now, let me explain the difference there. Is that macronutrients are our proteins, our fats, and our carbs, and the micronutrients are then our vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K, and a whole lot of nutrients, our secondary nutrients, our live enzymes. We talk about enzyme profiles. So all of those micronutrients, we kind of have an understanding that we need something different for that. But when it comes to macronutrients, we kind of don't tend to differentiate. You know, currently at the moment, the food pyramid it just sort of lists different foods, but you know, that's on the assumption all of those foods are healthy to your body. And if you've seen anyone with an anaphylactic shock, you have an understanding that food for that person, no matter how healthy, is actually not right for them. Okay, so we're talking about different foods. Okay, so the two fuel sources I want to talk about is definitely our protein and carbs. Now, this is then sort of saying that our food is broken down into those two areas, and there's a critical understanding is that proteins are broken down to amino acids and carbohydrates are broken down to blood sugars. So the way that I can describe it, if I can give an analogy around this, is that if you put diesel fuel into an unleaded car, it wouldn't really work, okay? And if you put unleaded fuel into a diesel car, again, it wouldn't work that well, okay? So the thing is that our bodies are very different. We have fast twitch muscle fibers and we have slow twitch muscle fibers. So if we compare like a marathon runner to a sprinter, you can see their body shapes are different. So it makes sense that you're going to need the right fuel for that person. It's either going to be more macronutrients in proteins or more macronutrients in carbs, because the carbs are then broken down into sugars. So, you know, someone with a slow twitch may need more sugars. Someone with a fast twitch, like a sprinter, would need more fast twitch, okay? So if we have an understanding that our body needs different fuel types, okay, is that we also need different fuel types at different stages of our life. You know, when we're first born, we obviously need a different fuel type from when we're actually aging. You know, a woman that's pregnant, while she's actually doing, you know, the big one that most people know about is folic acid. So, you know, a teenage boy's requirements are very different from an elderly woman's. So when we're stressed, we actually need different fuels than what we do when we're not stressed. So those fuel macronutrients, or that fuel mix, needs to shift. It's about getting. So the big question there is you know, what is the right fuel source? You know, you know, and how do we determine that? So I suppose the big thing is listening to your body. Now, most people, as I've already said this, will know which macronutrients that they need more, okay? is I have a buddy of mine, mate, he starts shaking after 2 hours. He needs a lot of fuel. He's a fast oxidizer. He's a high protein type person, builds muscle really easily. So, and then, other friends of ours that, don't feel really comfortable. I think my dad doesn't feel really comfortable having heavy meats. So why? Because that fuel type is not right for him. So if you're listening to your body, you inherently know what food type is right for you anyway, okay? But, the critical things is around your food types is actually about your mood, your energies, and feeling full. So is if you're having the right fuel type, you should be full. An hour after your meal, you shouldn't necessarily be looking for food. Your energy level should be high. Your mood will be good. So it's kind of like if you're listening to those couple of things, but there's also some other external factors that are really good in regards to listening to as well. One of those is just around. Sorry, I'm just having a look at, is how your body is responding to the food again. So some of the short-term requirements, if you're having too much carb, and I'm reading off some notes here, but if you're having too many carbs, for instance, you might get satisfied really quickly, but then the hunger comes back quickly. You may crave more fat and protein. You might be a little bit jittery. So, sometimes as you're jittery and wired is that, the sugars can actually, get your body excited. So, your nervous energy levels might be really high as well. So that's when you're getting too much carbs. When you're getting too much protein, and I'm sure most of us had a situation where we sit back and we just feel so full and so lethargic after our meal. So that's a real indication in regards to with having too much protein. We can feel sluggish and slow. Our gut feels heavy, so we're actually not really digesting it that well. So our body is more of a slow oxidizer. It takes a while to actually process it. So when we've had too much, obviously, it's just taking a fair toll on the body. We may be craving sweets. We're looking for those carbohydrates. You might crave coffee or tea, to give that stimulant because the protein is really heavy. So if you're listening to your body, you should be really able to work out what fuel type is important for you and what makes your body really well. Because as I talk to a lot of our clients is, can you just imagine when you get the right fuel type is that you don't feel hungry. You have energy and your mood is good all the time. So, it's a really important part, and we undersell how big this macronutrient is. We kind of get we need nutrients when some foods don't have it, but when we're talking big picture sort of stuff, we need to have an understanding that our macronutrients is as important and they are specific to your body. So if you're actually really wanting to know a little bit more detail about it, look just on our Facebook Live post, right down there, want more details, and happy to send you out a questionnaire, 14 questions that will give you a really good understanding of which foods your body responds well to, okay? So more than happy to do that. Otherwise, if you're looking for more health and fitness tips, go to our free Facebook group called Daily Health and Fitness Tests. I'll put that on our comments. So if you've got any questions, more than happy to answer those questions. But this is really groundbreaking, and I know it seems fairly simple, but it can make a significant difference. We don't think about food that way in macronutrients. We think about micronutrients, but we just think about food sometimes. So, if you're listening to your body, this is a really change of how we have an understanding in regards to food. So anyway, look, thank you for listening to me. Hope you have a great day with this tip. See if you can incorporate it during the week and notice the difference. So many of our clients have. So have a great day and look forward to catching up with you next week. See ya.